Boker Tov. It's wonderful to be here together. I'm Rabbi Shaner, and I'm here with our Temple Sinai Boker Tov, our Sinai streams, which is our daily chance to connect, to reflect, and to remember. I'm really looking forward to spending this time together as a community and starting our day uh, with gratitude and with study. Um, I think this morning, especially, I'm looking forward to sharing this time with you. We are in the middle of preparing for these 3 weeks that are coming between tomorrow and Tisha B'Av, which is a fast day on the Jewish calendar, and we begin that period tomorrow with a minor fast, a very small fast, one that begins only in the morning when we wake up. And that period, we call the 3 weeks, is a period of reflection that kicks off this whole process that leads ultimately to the high holidays in the fall. And standing here at the beginning of that process, what feels like the low point in the Jewish calendar uh, is really a chance to think together about where we could open up more, where we could find the space that we are protective of, and ask ourselves what would happen if I would let myself be vulnerable there. And I think that we often think of gratitude as this high point for us, and indeed it is. But we can also find gratitude in these low moments. Gratitude, a different kind of gratitude, the kind of gratitude that acknowledges that we are not in control of our fate and that we are lucky for the existence that we have. And so we turn now to words which acknowledge that the very fact of our existence is a kind of miracle, where we say these words, chalulim chalulim, with regard to our bodies. We say, uvaravo nekavim nekavim chalulim chalulim. If God forbid we had been created any other way, we would not be able to stand in this moment and to be ourselves. And so we will begin with a prayer which acknowledges how fragile we are, while at the same time reaches towards the height of gratitude. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher yatzar et haadam bechokma uvaravo nekavim nekavim chalulim chalulim galui v'yadu v'fnei chisech vodecha she'im yitpateach echad mehem או יסתם אחד מהם אי אפשר להתקיים ולעמוד לפניך. ברוך אתה אדוני רופא כל בשר ומפליא לעשות. Blessed eternal God, creator of the universe, you have fashioned our bodies with wisdom, creating within us a finely balanced network. To stand before you in prayer itself is a fragile miracle. Eternal God, we praise you as the healer of body and spirit. And so we take a moment now to turn our attention towards our sense of purpose, our sense of intellect and improvement as we say this prayer for the study of Torah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah v'ha'arev na Adonai Eloheinu et divrei Toratcha b'finu ובפי עמך בית ישראל, ונהיה אנחנו וצאצאינו וצאצאי עמך בית ישראל, כולנו יודעי שמך, ולומדי תורתך לשמה. ברוך אתה אדוני, המלמד תורה לעמו ישראל. Blessed eternal God, creator of the universe, you sanctify our lives with mitzvot and command us to engage in Torah study. Eternal our God, may your words of Torah be sweet to us, and let every generation, young and old, whose family, the whole family of Israel, come to know you through the study of Torah for its own sake. Eternal God, we praise you as the teacher of Torah to the people of Israel. We continue now with words of Torah that have stood with us through the ages, in which we acknowledge that we are part of a larger connected whole, the words of the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol vavcha ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך. וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך. וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף פתיל תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית, וראיתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם. ולא תטו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. We conclude the Shema by reminding ourselves of what is true. We sang this word emet, what stands firm for us. And as I've said several times over the last couple of weeks that I have been joining you on these Wednesdays, that in Judaism, what's true for us isn't always something that we express in a dogmatic kind of way. It's not that we don't have statements of faith. It's that we don't have very many, and what we have doesn't have a lot in common, except for a couple of key points. But what we do have a lot of in Judaism are prayers and songs, which help guide us towards expressing faith without rooting us down in a notion that if you don't believe X, Y, and Z, you're not really part of the group. And so one of the things I have been doing on this Wednesday morning stream has been sharing with you the way that music can help shape our sense of faith. And so we will continue that this morning with a different song. We had been studying the song Adon Olam. I want to bring a different song to our attention this morning, and this song is a song that is of a particular genre of songs in Judaism. That is Shabbat table songs, songs that are sung between the meal and the blessing after the meal on Shabbat. In this case, this is the last song that a community would sing together before the blessing after the meal. And the song is called Sur Mishalo Achalnu. And I'm going to sing a little bit together. If you know it, please, wherever you are, join in with me. If you don't know it, it's okay. You'll catch on pretty quick. It's a catchy tune. But to sing this song together and then to look at what it really is saying, I think is a wonderful way to understand something about our tradition. And so we'll begin. צור משלא אכלנו ברכו אמוני, שבענו והותרנו כדבר אדוני. צור משלא אכלנו ברכו אמוני, שבענו והותרנו כדבר אדוני. אזן את עולמו רואינו אבינו, אכלנו את לחמו ויינו שתינו. על כן נודה לשמו נהללו בפינו, אמרנו וענינו אין קדוש כאדוני. צור משלא אכלנו ברכו אמוני, שבענו והותרנו כדבר אדוני. צור משלא אכלנו ברכו אמוני, שבענו והותרנו כדבר אדוני. בשיר וקול תודה נברך לאלוהינו, בשיר וקול על ארץ חמדה טובה שהנחיל לאבותינו. מזון צידה השביעה לנפשנו, חסדו גבר עלינו ואמת אדוני. צור משלא אכלנו ברכו אמוני, שבענו והותרנו כדבר אדוני. צור משלא אכלנו ברכו אמוני, שבענו והותרנו כדבר Adonai. So this is a song which says, we have eaten and we are satisfied, and let us bless. But it doesn't just say that we are satisfied. It points us to the particular point at which we are satisfied, which, if we look at the basic commandment to say a blessing after we've eaten, it comes from the book of Deuteronomy, where we get this text, this verse, Ve'achalta v'savata uverachta et Adonai Elohecha. When you have eaten and are satisfied, you shall bless the eternal your God for the good land that God has given you. So the rabbis make a lot out of this point, visavata. At the point that you are satisfied, then you have an obligation to say a blessing. And they have a question. At what point do we say, are you satisfied? Because people have different appetites. What's satisfying to one person might not be satisfying to another. And here on the screen, you see a commentary from a little comment on this mitzvah from the Mishnah Berurah, which is a commentary on Jewish law from the 19th century, where it says, it is implied in the Sefer HaChinuch, which is an earlier text, a medieval text, that the amount which satisfies is not the same for everybody, but that each person is aware how much food they require to be satisfied, which makes sense. So then how do we legislate that? The rabbis come up with this measurement of kazait, an olive bulk size, because that is sort of a minimal amount at which a person might become satisfied. But here it says if someone is accustomed to eat at all times only what is sufficient for their subsistence, that is considered satisfaction. In other words, it's not just about feeling satisfied. It is about what we are, how much we normally have. And this question of how much is enough is going to be different in different times and different circumstances. One of the things that strikes me about this song that we sang, Tzur Mishello Achalnu, is that this is a song that comes to us from the medieval period, a time when people were not, largely speaking, able to afford to eat a whole lot. And yet, here we are singing this song, Tzur Mishello Achalnu, Baruchu Emunai, Savanu Vehotarnu Kidvaranai. We are satisfied and we have enough left over. We've eaten our fill and then some. There's this theory that many of us are familiar with, that it's from the behavioral psychologist Maslow is the last name, that we we have a pyramid and of needs, and that until the needs that are more pressing are fulfilled, we can't actually achieve some of the needs that are of a higher order, needs like self-actualization and meaning in life. It's actually that all of that depends on the ability to feed ourselves and clothe ourselves and shelter ourselves, and the ability to have meaningful relationships, and to you climb up into higher and higher orders to the top of the pyramid, and the base of it is sustenance. Um, the the problem that a song like this poses to Maslow's pyramid, the hierarchy of needs, is that in times when we have a little and in times when we have a lot, our people were still singing a song like this. Our people were still saying a blessing after they were satisfied. And I'm not saying that Maslow is wrong. Our tradition supports Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We have a whole statement in the Torah, ein, uh, ein kemach, ein Torah, with no flour, with no food, there cannot be this higher order of meaning in our lives, this Torah that we study. And yet, um, and yet, there is a different kind of sustenance that we are talking about when we talk about the sustenance in this psalm. We're not just talking about the physical need to nourish ourselves, which is absolutely a basis for our ability to engage in any activity. But we're also talking about a kind of spiritual sustenance, a kind of spiritual satisfaction. And when do we have that? It's exactly as the song says, at this point, not based on how much food we ate, but at the point that we feel we can leave something over. So we sing, Savanu vehotarnu kidvar Adonai. We have been satisfied and we've left something over. And so the question is, where did God say that we should leave something over? Well, when our rabbis want to quote a passage from the Bible, they say something like this, kidvar, or v'ne'emar. And actually, it's not this passage that we just looked at. It's this passage from Ruth. Boaz, Ruth's cousin, not her cousin, her husband's cousin. Ruth is a Moabite woman who she's an immigrant, and she is very poor, and she's come to glean from the fields of Boaz. Boaz was a cousin to her late husband, and at the end of the day, Boaz comes and says to her, "Come over here and partake of this meal." And in the Torah the Tanakh tells us she sat down, and he handed her some roasted grain, and she ate. She was satisfied, vatotar, and she had leftover. And this passage is interpreted by our rabbis to say that even in this time of poverty, because she did this act of leaving something, not for herself, for later, but for her mother-in-law, who she brings this leftover back to help feed someone else. Because of that act, that her descendants are this incredible line of heroes and kings in our tradition. So she's the great-grandmother of King David. She's the great-grandmother of Solomon, and she's also the ancestor of King Chizkiah, all of whom are mentioned in the Tanakh. This woman who is an immigrant, who is poor, who is satisfied with a little bit of grain dipped in vinegar. Her descendants are kings and princes, and she this text from the Talmud says that she ate and was fulfilled by her, means that her satisfaction was fulfilled in the days of her grandchildren. She was satiated in the days of her great-grandchildren, and she had some left over for the great-great-grandchildren. One of her descendants, Rabbi Yehuda Hanassi, here is is portrayed as being so rich that his stable keeper is richer than the king of Persia. And all of this is sort of overturned with the last statement here in the Talmud, which says, she ate in this world, she was satisfied in the days of the Messiah, and she left some over in the world to come. Just to say that our satisfaction is not only in the moment that we are in, it is also in all times and all places. It is a part of a more of a spiritual understanding that we have. And in order to get there, we have to leave something for someone else. One of the reasons that I wanted to share this text with you today is because tomorrow is the Fast of Tammuz, and is a fast which commemorates the breaking of the tablets that Moses brought down from Mount Sinai, which Moses broke when he saw that the Israelites were engaged in worshiping the golden calf. And I think that one of the lessons of that story, one of the lessons of this fast, is that the people were engaged in idolatry and worshiping their wealth. They literally took their gold out of the gold that was on them, that was in their jewelry. They took their earrings out of their ears and melted it down to make this idol to worship, because they felt insecure, because they felt they needed to protect themselves, because they felt they needed some assurance that they would be okay. And it is that very scarcity and anxiety that leads to the kind of brokenness that we are commemorating in the fast that begins tomorrow. And so all of that is to say that Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which points us to the top, says that our values and our spiritual nourishment can come only after we have achieved all of these things, is true. But it also, we find that when we have more, sometimes we have more to feel anxious about, more to feel protective of, and that actually it's that generosity, that giving over, that leaving something for someone else, is a way of saying, I will be okay. It's a way of practicing having the faith that whatever situation we are in, there will be some left over, and we will, if not for us, then for our children, and if not for them, for our grandchildren. That, in other words, having faith is, in some ways, the practice of leaving over, rather than protecting what we have all the time. And so this kind of generosity that we see with Ruth is something that we can practice every single day, trying to leave a little bit over in order to say, it's going to be okay. Now, not lots of people are in a situation where they're not sure if it's going to be okay, and we remember them, and we offer a prayer for healing, for protection, and for their swift recovery from whatever is ailing them, whether they are ill or isolated or working hard on the front lines to keep the rest of us safe and secure. We express our faith by having hope for them. And as we say these words of our tradition, Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov v'imotenu Sarah Rivka Leah v'Rachel hu yirapeh et kol makotenu yehi ratzon milfanecha Adonai Eloheinu lehachalimam ulerapotam v'yishlach lanu mehera refuah shlema ve'ateret shalom v'tagen alenu mimachala ra'a v'nomar Amen. May the one who blessed our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and our mothers, Sarah, Rebecca, Leah, and Rachel, heal all who suffer. May it be your will to provide healing and strength. Reveal to us the holiness of life, the wholeness of shalom. And let us say, Amen. Well, it's time now for us to remember as a community those who have gone before us and left something over for us. This morning, we recall the recent deaths and extend our condolences to the families of Reuben Devlin, Gerald Goldstein, David Garber, Zena Werb, and Robert Filler, as well as on this 16th of Tammuz, Wednesday, July 8th, we recall those who died at this time in years past. Evelyn Ashley, Marcus Gell, Percy Gittleman, Enid Harriet Harris, Belle Onrat, Esther Potts, Ella Radomski, Sol Richardson, Bella Shiner, and Mela Werbo. Together with those who we carry in our hearts, we hope that their memory will always be a blessing as we turn to words which are glorified by memory and words which are sanctified by hope, the words of the Kaddish Yatom. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmeh Rabbah, be'alma divra chiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechal Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehe shmeh Rabbah mevarach le'alam u'le'almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shmeh dekudsha bericho. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru Amen. Yehe shlama Rabbah min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'meromav, hu yaraseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. And let us say together, Amen. Well, it has been wonderful to spend this time together this morning. I hope that you're able to get outside, stretch your legs, and really make this a great day. And that we'll be seeing you here every morning at 8:30, and looking forward to seeing you on Shabbat as well. Boker Tov, and go ahead and make it a great day.